Okay, number 9. I'm going to work this in blue ink so it's not as, like, your eyes can kind of decipher it. Number 9, I'm going to go ahead and start by saying we're going to switch this. This is inverse. You got to make sure you have a y there. So I'm going to replace my f of x with that y. And remember, inverse means you are going to switch the x and y. Inverse means switch the x and y. So on my first step, I'm going to switch out my x and y just like this. Y plus 1 squared. And now you have to solve. Now you have to solve for y, and it's a little tricky to do that. So the first thing we're going to do is move our 7 over, y'all. We're going to move it over to both sides, and I have x plus 7 equals 1/2 times y plus 1 squared. The next thing I'm going to do is I don't want to multiply into this, what's it called? Into this parentheses because there's that square there. I just don't like messing with that. It can mess up stuff, so I don't want to do anything about that. What I'm going to do is I'm going to get rid of this 1/2. This says 1/2 times all this stuff, so I have to divide by 1/2, which if you know your rules of fractions, it means you're going to multiply by 2. And I've modeled it in class multiple times, but this is just one of those skills that either sticks or doesn't, and I don't know why. Regardless, to get rid of that 1/2, you're going to multiply by 2 on both sides. So when you multiply by 2 on both sides, it's going to clear it out. The first thing that happens is this 2 distributes, so I get 2x. So 2 times x is 2x plus 14, because 7 times 2 is 14. This 1/2 and this 2 all cancel out with each other. So what I'm left with is y plus 1 squared. I got to keep going. What is the opposite of squaring? Square root. What is the opposite of squaring? Square root. What do we do to get rid of stuff on equations? We do the opposite. So I'm going to square root both sides. I'm going to just put it underneath like that. It's not perfect notation, but I don't want it to look too ugly to read. So when I square root both sides, what do I end up with? Well, I end up with this. I have a square root of 2x plus 14. That stays underneath. That's yuck, but it's there. And then this square cancels out. This square cancels out, so I'm left with y plus 1. One last step. I'm going to subtract 1 on both sides. I'm going to subtract 1 on both sides, and you end up with the square root of 2x plus 14. Notice my house. It better be under the house. This 1 does not go into the house, y'all. You can't just randomly throw things inside a radical. So this 1 is on the outside. Make sure it is. And then now we have officially solved for our y. So you're going to record that answer in this g of x blank, square root of 2x plus 14. And yes, it looks weird, but so equals or minus 1. And that's it. Also, I still like this notation. So if you wanted to use this notation instead of g of x, I would love that as well. Equals the same thing. So with that said, that's that. We're going to be spending some time in class on these inverses.